Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bookah report for the 24th of September 2012. Today we have very good news for all you Apple lovers out there, because ArenaNet finally released a Mac version of the Guild Wars 2 client. They worked together with Trans Gaming and used their Cider technology to develop this client. From what I was able to understand about the Cider technology, it basically enables the game to communicate with the Mac OS without any modifications or any changes to the original source code. The major upside this presents is that ArenaNet has to put in very little additional time to convert updates and patches for Guild Wars 2 to the Mac version. So they can just take the Windows version, throw Cider in there, and they're good to go. Therefore, there is almost no danger of delayed patches for the Mac version. The downside, however, is that the Cider technology still doesn't make Guild Wars 2 run natively on Mac OS. Therefore, you can expect some performance issues. For example, in the current beta version of the client, the system requirements for Mac are significantly higher than those for Windows. You'll need an i5 and 4 GB of RAM instead of just 2 GB on the Windows version. This is very likely to improve in the finalized version, but you can still expect some cutbacks in either performance or graphical fidelity. Mike Ferguson from ArenaNet addresses the current state of World vs. World in a new article on the official Guild Wars 2 website. He starts off with explaining how exactly the queuing system in World vs. World works. He then points out that there's currently a rather strong imbalance in server population and also in World vs. World focus on the individual servers. He tries to encourage people from higher population servers to maybe migrate over to lower population servers. This wouldn't only even out the playing field in World vs. World and also benefit ArenaNet because the player base would be more evenly distributed between the servers. But it would also benefit the player himself greatly, since he would be able to avoid the sometimes hour-long waiting periods to get into the World vs. World matches on the high population servers. He continues with the match rotation in World vs. World. They have now changed from a previously 24-hour rotation to a 7-day rotation. They haven't gotten to the initially intended 14-day rotation yet, because they still want to get a bit more data on matchmaking and World vs. World in general. Additionally, they want to help people to get used to the longer match format and kind of ease them into it. Account security often presents a big problem with MMOs. ArenaNet now addresses this problem in a rather lengthy article on the official website. They start off with explaining how exactly hackers go about hacking into your Guild Wars 2 accounts. They then present two of the more commonly used methods in order to circumvent hacking attempts. This would be email authentication and also two-way authentication, which would involve some kind of external device like a smartphone in combination with an application. But ArenaNet takes it even one step further with the measurement of password blacklisting. In this, they take all the passwords that hackers have already scanned for, which are 20 million up until now, and they put those on a blacklist, therefore preventing all the new customers and all the current customers from choosing those passwords for their account. This method has already resulted in great success, since they have managed to get the rate of hacked accounts from rather astonishing 1.5% down to 0.1%. But ArenaNet wants to expand on the blacklisting method even further. In the coming weeks, you will probably be requested to change your password. This is because ArenaNet wants to put all the currently used passwords on the blacklist as well. This way they ensure that the most commonly used passwords are out of the equation and hackers have it even harder to get into the Guild Wars 2 accounts. Additionally, they over and over advise you to choose a password which isn't only good, but also only in use on your Guild Wars 2 account. This way, a breach in, for example, your email account can't result in a hacker getting your password for your Guild Wars 2 account as well. A Guild Wars 2 add-on called Combat Mod 1.0 went viral on Reddit. This add-on is supposed to give you the true action RPG combat that many have wished for in Guild Wars 2. The combat with this add-on is very similar to the one in Terra Online, and even though Terra isn't doing very well, I think most people can agree that the combat was kind of great. The mod adds a crosshair in the middle of your screen, slightly above your character, and similar to Terra, when toggled, works as if you're constantly holding down your right mouse button. This is therefore available to bind with any ability or maybe dodge. Selecting something in the user interface, like for example your guild panel, automatically enables the cursor again. This mod only uses features that are already in place in Guild Wars 2, which goes to show that the action combat experience, which many people have wished for, is well within reach of the Guild Wars 2 developers. A GM response to this mod led to some confusion in the community, and the creator took down all the available download links for this mod. But in the end, everything was clarified. Third-party programs aren't especially forbidden. ArenaNet just doesn't actively support them. So if a mod doesn't give you any advantage, you're allowed to use it. But be careful, since an advantage might be harder to detect than you think. And if there is one, you're the one who's screwed. The footage in the background is from a video from LUGOEntertainment about this mod, in which he gives a bit more detail on the mod itself. So if you're interested in the mod, there's a link to the video from LUGOEntertainment and also a link to the original Reddit post below this video in the description. In the last week, a virtual shitstorm arose when ArenaNet answered a question about monetization of Guild Wars 2 content on their forums. Lately, it has occurred that some Guild Wars 2 videos on YouTube have been flagged by PlayNC, which basically is NCSoft. To be clear, this only means that they can't monetize. I haven't heard of an example yet where the video was pulled from YouTube altogether. So, someone then asked about this on the forums and got the normal answer that monetization of Guild Wars 2 content isn't allowed. This then commenced the massive outrage on Twitter, Reddit, and basically all over the internet. I have to admit that at first I got caught up in it myself, but only until I dug a little deeper and found out that it's basically a non-issue. So to clarify, monetization of Guild Wars 2 content has never been allowed. That has always been in the terms and conditions. Nothing has changed. ArenaNet just never actively searched for any infringements, and this continues to be the case. It just seems that NCSoft has refined the search algorithm for infringements, and therefore copyright flags are more common now. This, however, does not affect the big YouTubers. Most of your favorite YouTubers are members of a network, and those have contracts that allow them to use and display certain Guild Wars 2 content. Aspiring YouTubers like myself, who are not members of a network, are not and have never been allowed to monetize Guild Wars 2 content. Of course, sometimes videos slip through the cracks. But even so, before being partnered, the money someone can make off YouTube is really not worth mentioning. So the only people who have a problem, and they had this problem all along, are those who just won't make videos unless they make money off of them, and just can't wait until a network approaches them. That's all for today's Bookah report. As always, all the links to the articles are in the description down below. My name is Chronic Gamer. I'll see you next time.